What episode is this?
Fuck's sake, 9.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the UndeadGamingCast, episode 9. See, I did it first time, guys.
Well done.
This is the monthly podcast in which myself and some very good friends of mine and yours, we talk about video games and the industry and things like that for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 3, because that's generally the length that some of these podcasts have nearly been getting to. But welcome. Joining us on today's podcast, or welcoming back, in fact, two awesome people. Welcome back, Mr. Minty Lamb.
I'm the winner! Yay!
How are you, sir?
I am fantastic.
Good. Good. And welcome back, Mr. Singularity Josh from Singularity Games.
Hello. Nice to be back again.
Well, it's nice to have you guys with us, so it's good. Hopefully the viewers and listeners have listened to this before, are loving your faces and your vocals and stuff. So yes, if you don't know, and if this is your first time watching, then thank you and welcome. Basically, I'll tell you a little bit about the format of this podcast. So basically, we kickstart things off by talking about what we've been up to and what we've been playing this month, and then we sort of move into the day's or this month's topic. Generally, that could be about news topics or anything we want to talk about, and then we sort of round things off with next month's releases. So, without further ado, I suppose let's talk about what we've been playing. Who wants to go first?
Go for it, Josh.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I've been like super busy. There is a vlog coming at some point explaining why, but I've not really been playing a great deal of games currently. I mean, I've had a bash at Shadow of Mordor. I played a little tiny bit of Red Dead Redemption. I haven't actually played Shadow of Mordor at all. That's a lie. I've been watching you play Shadow of Mordor, Rob, on your new Let's. I've not actually been playing it myself. I had a razzle earlier on Plants vs Zombies, which there is content on my channel about / coming soon. I played a little tiny bit of Saints Row 3 this afternoon, and the mainstay of my gaming this month has been done on the Dungeons & Dragons MMO Neverwinter. So that's really good fun. Really enjoying that.
Cool. Tell us about Neverwinter.
So
what's the happy haps?
So Neverwinter is obviously an MMO, which is a massively multiplayer online game, RPG like D&D, based on the 4th edition rulebook. Apparently, it's really strange the way they've done it, but it's kind of cool. So normal character creation stuff. You go in, you pick your class and your race, and you get like dice rolls as you would if you were rolling a character properly in D&D. I'm an elf rogue called Eldenari, which is my LARP character because it's good fun. And got into it, and the premise is that some big bad has attacked. I think the city is Neverwinter. I'm not really too familiar with the actual D&D universe, because when I play D&D, I do it on my own, in my own world, sort of thing. So some big bad has attacked Neverwinter, and you're just kind of going around trying to rebuild Neverwinter. Combat is an awful lot like Guild Wars, so it's not like WoW, which is just right click kill attack, next thing right click kill. Like every mouse click is an attack, and obviously you've got your abilities keyed up. And the cool thing I really like about it is that once a day, or you got like like in D&D, you've got like your feats, your abilities, and you get a daily. Like powers that you can do once a day. You have a day, like your class has like a daily. So like my rogue's daily is that I can hit one, he disappears into a group of enemies, stabs them, disappears, hits the next enemy, stabs and disappears, and you do it about 10 times, and you can't be like targeted or stun locked or damaged during this time while you're doing it, and then you just kind of clean up as you go. I've not got anybody to play it with, so I would like some people to play it with, but can't have everything, I guess. But that's kind of where the majority of my time's gone.
Cool. How does it differ? I don't know if you know at all. I mean, who's developed Neverwinter?
Oh fuck. It's Perfect World Entertainment who do it. So the guys who do Perfect World, Star Trek Online, some various other bits and pieces.
Okay, but do you know at all how it differs from Turbine's DDO, Dungeons and Dragons Online? at all.
It might have actually you might actually even be Turbine who've done it, and what they might have just done is they've changed it to just updated it to 4th edition to Neverwinter.
No, DDO is still its own
Is DDO
separate.
still?
Yeah.
Is DDO still good? I thought they closed that down because I went to play it. Let me just.
I don't think so. Double check, but I'm pretty sure it's
Because I
still.
went to do it before and I thought it had closed down. I might totally be wrong actually.
Because I know that.
Yeah, no, it's still going. Still going.
I know that DDO. I think. And correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys know, or even in the chat, like I think it's instance based, so similar to how Guild Wars, the original Guild Wars was. If I'm right in saying that.
Neverwinter is reasonably instance based. There are a lot of like little like mini dungeons that you can do on your own, which is kind of cool. The developer on it is Cryptic, and then obviously the publisher is Perfect World.
Yeah.
Responsible for Perfect World. I used to play PW like when it came out way back. Like literally when it was first released, like 3 races, none of this like 6 race stuff. Like it was like 3. Yeah, it was 3 races and 6 classes, and that was it. Yeah, and I had my own guild on there and everything. But Cryptic are the people who did City of Heroes. They did Champions Online and Star Trek as well as Neverwinter. So they kind of keep the same developer with the same publisher. I'm guessing. I don't know if they're all tied in together, but yeah. But no, it's quite heavily instance based though. Still, like you'll get a quest and you'll run in, and then you'll they'll go like retrieve this item from this thing because bad things happen, and it's very very story driven. Like you're not just like you never feel like you're just grinding. When like WoW is just like 10 of these items, 10 of these items, 10 of these items. All the characters that you receive quests from have audio, and they read their text box to you, so it actually makes you feel like you're doing something for someone rather than just going, kill 10 wolves and collect their pelts because I need them for something.
It'd be good for the RPG element as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's cool. You can RP from it quite heavily, I'm pretty sure, and the way that the system's built is kind of cool because there's lots of races, lots of like very like distinct D&D races, and they're constantly classes apparently, so that's pretty cool. At the moment it's great weapon fighter, who's obviously a 2-handed swordsman, a guardian, which is like shield and sword, Oog, Scourge warlock, who's like, I think it's just like a warlock from WoW, like a damage over time, or it might be DPS, it might be damage over time, I'm not sure. A control wizard, who I'm guessing is just like CCs and stuff like that, and then there's rangers with a bow, and then there's trickster rogues, which is what I am, which is your go invisible, appear behind you, stab you in the back, deal like 1 million damage, kill you stupidly quickly kind of class. But then there's like tiefling, demons, halflings, dragonborn, drow, humans, dwarves, I think at the moment.
How does it compare to sort of like other MMOs? What's the appeal? Well, what would be the appeal? Like especially for someone coming from like WoW maybe or something else.
Well, I mean, I'm from WoW. That's kind of my MMO background. I've played a Night Elf Hunter like all the way up to the point where I stopped playing it.
Represent.
I think I was 80 Night Elf Hunter. In PvP as well, may I add. So like I played WoW.
Always shit at PvP. Always shit at it.
I was okay at PvP. I was okay. I had some good buddies who were good and geared, and used to go into PvP with them and wreck face and stuff. It was awesome. I had a great time. But I don't know. Like I think what Neverwinter does is that it provides you with I don't know. Like it gives you meaning. I found that next to Guild Wars, it feels a lot more structured. I sort of wander around on Guild Wars not really knowing what I'm doing a lot of the time. And what it does very well, without doing it
obviously,
almost, yeah, but like what it does very well is it makes you feel powerful. Even from a very low level, it makes you feel very, very powerful. Even if you're, if you wandered into a level 15 area, you'd get wrecked Do you know what I mean? But like that ability that you have from level 1, it looked like the first time I did it, it was the coolest fucking thing I've ever done. It was just like hit one button, disappear, backstab one guy, disappear again, backstab another guy, like appear behind another one, backstab him, like, and I just like left in the middle of this all these enemy bodies, just like shit. I did this. That was awesome. Like it does a really really good job of like combat is very very fun and very very engaging. The story is really really good. The quest line is very strong, and because it's narrated as well in terms of whenever you pick up a quest, you actually feel like you're doing something for someone rather than just a fucking it's just like like on MMOs, like WoW, it's just like at level 1 you're getting 10 venom sacks if you're a night elf from the spiders, and then when you're in Stranglefall and Vale you're picking up 10 tiger skins, and then when you're in, I've totally forgot the name of it.
But yeah, no, it's like
when you're level 80, you're still collecting some of something, even though but the monsters are just level 80 basically. Like whereas like it does of like because an end goal, even though the dungeons are all similar, where you kind of like run through, kill a thing, solve. But that's the other thing is where you get to solve puzzles as well, which is kind of cool. So it's not just like straight run through.
Yeah.
You get to solve puzzles and stuff as you're going as well, and disarm traps and find levers to doors and explore and loot.
You've just got the same old crappy hack and slash, collect the stuff and go back.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like, it feels a bit, I mean, it might only just because I'm only like level 10 or something, but it's still, hello Dimmy, it's still better than just like, like when you're playing like a normal MMO, you've got your combo on your keyboard.
Yeah.
Like you just go like, you go 1 3 5 7 1 and then it dies. Like with this, you go like click 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 like Q, and then like he wrecks you, and then you have to dodge out the way, and then you run back in, and you can like I click E, and then I like disappear and like appear behind him and stab him in the back, and then he turns around to fight me, and then like slow him and stop his armor, and like it's really really cool. Like I really enjoy the actual like flow of the game.
So is there like an active sort of dodge type mechanic then in the game?
Yeah, you just double tap your movement key, like you'll occasionally get like a big red splodge appear like on the floor when somebody's about to like wreck your shit, or when a caster is about to like fire a spell at you, and then you like you have to get out the thing, and then if you get hit by it, it just like takes half your health off, and if you don't, you get like an evaded like. Because
that's always been, I suppose, the problem with MMOs is that it's just kind of always been same old, and obviously World of Warcraft has done exceedingly well, and still is to this day, and especially with Warlords of Draenor, it's pulled a lot of people back in, like a lot of people. Even I was tempted. I played WoW on and off for about 7 years, and a couple of years ago I was kind of like, I'm done. After I'd got back into it again for a while, I was like, I'm done. I can't really be bothered to play. I'm not that bothered. When you get to sort of high-end gaming, unless you're part of a guild and you do regular raiding, or you're sort of into PvP, there's not much for you. And that's what I found. And I was kind of like, well, nah, not that bothered anymore. So I stopped playing it. And like any MMO I've got into since, like, I mean, I sort of play Lotro when I can, which isn't great as an MMO. It's not doing anything sort of specifically innovative for the genre.
It's just
I'm literally playing it because I'm a Tolkien fan. I love the lore. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm there for the story more than anything. It's standard MMO fare, auto-targeting, hotkey combat, but generally it's the MMOs that are doing something a little bit new that I find are managing to sort of hold on to an audience a bit better, whether that be through better storytelling, better quests, or better combat system. I mean, Star Wars: The Old Republic is still one of the best or most played MMOs out there, although a lot of people think it's dead or it's gone free to play because it was dying. The combat and everything and the PvP, I don't know if it's changed much since release, wasn't great. But one thing I've always heard about The Old Republic is the fact that the storyline was amazing. So if anything, play that game for the storyline. So
Yeah,
it's
was
things
it,
like that.
Was it hotkey combat or was it?
I think it was, yeah. I think it's pretty standard auto target hotkey combat, same as WoW, but the storyline and the role play was brilliant. Plus, also it had the classic sort of BioWare karma system, I suppose.
Yeah.
So you could start playing a Sith Lord and end up
being a
moving,
Jedi.
going towards the side of the Jedi or that side of the Force, where you ended up being a bad guy, but then actually you're not so bad.
After all.
Making giving you sort of like not stock good or bad characters, but making your character grey, if you know what I mean, which I think is the good basis of great storytelling and great characters.
Definitely.
Is when characters are grey and not stock. Oh, this guy's clearly good. This guy's clearly evil. It's a good mix of the two.
Yeah, I mean, if you like your RP, I definitely recommend you check out Neverwinter. The other cool thing about it, and I'm gonna let this go because it's been going on for a while, but is that when you build your character and you go into the game, you click your character sheet, which is obviously where you change all your gear and all that sort of stuff, and you can see the feats and your stats. But next to that is a little biography, and if you click into that little biography, you can write about your character and like why they're on their quest. And like at the start of the game, you choose your quest. So my god is the god of knowledge, and my quest is a quest for enlightenment and knowledge, which is very similar to my LARP characters. And like it's cool that it gives you all these options to play around with, and then I can be like, in my biog, I can be like, here is the specific bit of knowledge that I am seeking, here is why I'm doing here is why I'm a rogue and not.
See, it's things like that set these sort of MMOs aside from the rest. But I suppose things like that are done, and it's great that it's been done because obviously it's based on D&D, and it's those things like that that you will find or you will experience playing D&D on a table over with some mates or whatever. That's the sort of thing you experience, and that's the sort of thing you do. And it's great when they have those little quirky things. Even when you were saying there's narration in the game, and the characters are fully voice acted. It's things like it's little quirks like that make you feel like, yeah, I'm kind of playing. I feel like I'm playing D&D, but over the in a computer game, which is awesome.
It's cool.
Which is awesome. I mean, you can do that little bio thing in Lotro, but it's not obviously like not forced, but do you know what I mean? Like oh god, what's the word? It obviously it sounds like in Neverwinter it's given to you as like, this is a really good thing to do because it's kind of like you're playing D&D.
Yeah, it's just like if you don't want to touch it, you don't have
whereas
to touch
Lotro,
it.
it's just kind of it's a kind of thing that you can discover, and it's there if I suppose you're part of a role playing server and you're playing the game to role play. It's so
agreed.
Yeah. Just one last question about Neverwinter: is it on Mac?
Possibly.
Okay.
I play on a PC, so I couldn't tell you, but I'm sure us with Google will be able to tell us.
Cool.
Okay, well, I'm reasonably sure that in terms of graphical, like it's quite a nice looking game, and the cutscenes and stuff are really, really nicely done. So it might be a bit taxing for a Mac, possibly graphically.
Cool. Might check that out.
But yeah, Neverwinter.
So, Minty.
Hello.
What's been on the gaming horizon for you, sir?
I haven't had much time in the past week or so. I've been working a lot, but I did manage to get to play a bit more of my Let's Play for Fallout New Vegas earlier on today.
Cool.
Did about just under an hour was worth of that one. Still love that game, despite the fact I've played it so many times. But other than that, played a little bit of Doom. I went old school, played a little bit of Doom, and then I went LARPing. That's another thing I did. That kind of counts as a game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Went up to LARP Aid. It's a charity fundraiser for various different charities that they pick up. They picked this year. It was for the large dog breed rescue. In memory of one of our fellow LARPers who unfortunately passed away last year. So that was all done in aid of that one. Had a really good time, raised quite a bit of money, got quite drunk on mead, and saw a
stuff.
lot of old school characters and people that I haven't seen for a while, which was quite nice.
Was that based around like your specific LARP, or was it just for?
No, the best thing about LARPade is you can play any of your characters or want to make one up from any different, whether it be sci-fi, fantasy, post-apoc,
Right.
anything. And
So
they
it's
went,
more like a social thing than it is an actual
yeah,
hickey stick kind of.
yeah. It's more like well, they call it the Unreality tournaments. There's fighting competitions and archery competitions, as well as a bardic contest. I entered the bardic contest and told a story which I've told a few times at Scully. Uh, you know the one, Rob. You know it. Yeah, so we did that, and yeah.
You should have sung. You should have sung my character's Chilean classic.
Ah, yes, the Chilean classic.
Love slay you. No, that's not for me. But yeah, so I told the well-seasoned warrior story. Yeah, that's pretty much been my week and a bit, really. Yeah, LARP.
Cool.
Right, go ahead, Rob.
Sure, sweet. Well, this month marks my birthday, which was, as of recording last week, as of this going live 2 weeks ago. Where, if you've been following my channel, you'll know that I have been gifted a PS4. So I've joined the next generation of gaming, and I've got myself a nice shiny new PlayStation 4. Which is awesome. Very excited about it. I've not had a massive chance to sort of play my PlayStation 4, but what at the time I have had to play it, and obviously I've started a new Let's Play series on my channel about it, and that's I've started playing finally Shadows of Mordor.
Woo!
Yay!
Love that game, so good.
So happy to have finally got my hands on it and playing it, and my god, it is awesome. Love this game.
Can only imagine it'd be so good on the next gen. I mean, I got it for previous gen because I'd be Poe, and I was just dying to play it pretty much. I just and I will when I get it, if I ever can ever fucking afford a next generation console. It will likely be the first game I buy and play on it. But what I played on the 360 was just awesome. It was a real good game. The only problem is you get texture pops and long load times and stuff like that. So I'm guessing when you're on next gen, graphics are beautiful, no load times, straight through. I'm guessing.
I mean, I'm only I think about like an hour and a half into it or something, which isn't a lot, considering there's quite a lot to do. It's an open world game, there's lots of challenges to do and things like that. And obviously I'm let's playing it as I go. But some things I've noticed already, you're saying about things like texture pops and things like that. Usually when in some games where you kill an enemy, you get like a ragdoll effect where all their body just goes totally limp and they just sort of like fall over. They might fall through a wall slightly or fall through a barrel. Which
clipping
kind
and
of
stuff.
Brings you out of the experience and out of the immersion, which sucks a bit. But I killed this orc. It's either on the first episode or the second episode of the Let's Play, I think. I killed this orc, and as I killed him, he sort of fell down, like I suppose a dead body would, I guess, sort of to his knees, and then sort of proceeded to fall over. And he was near, I think, this big catapult wheel, or it was some sort of wooden structure. And normally, I suppose what we're used to, you'd think, oh, the body's just going to fall through it. It didn't. It fell onto it and fell off of it. It reacted to the obstacle. And I was like, my God. Wow. I'm just so blown away by it. And the lighting effect is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I was editing part 4 of the Let's Play, and I start the Let's Play off sort of where I left off in the previous episode. But I'm looking at Talion, who's the main character, and I've sort of got like an upshot of him, and it's sort of like he's in front of a little bit of a cliff face, and just above that is the sort of the sun setting, and the sun just sort of lighting him up like from behind, and the lighting and the color of the sky. I'm fucking blown away by it. It looks so stunning, and the shadows and
Have you done that really, really fucking awesome thing yet, where you get into combat with about 1 million orcs at once, and you're just like, "Fuck, I've had it," and you counter, and he puts his sword up, and then somebody tries to hit you as you're halfway through the animation, so you mash like your Y key or whatever it is on the PlayStation, and the spirit like pops out of you and just like sucker punches the guy. It's awesome.
No, I've not got
Get
that.
get yourself into one of those situations and do it, and it looks fucking awesome.
I bet. Yeah, I mean, like some of the stuff already done.
He'll do it straight away. Like, you don't need an ability.
The Nemesis system is so good. Like, literally, this game feels alive. And this is something that no other game has done this, I don't think, today. And I'm blown away by it. I've met several captains already and already made a bit of a nuisance of myself with them. And there's this guy who appears in pretty much every fucking episode that I've done so far. And he infuriates me now every time I see him. But I think it was in the second episode, which was already gone live. But this guy, Lugdash the Humiliator, I think his name is an orc. Or Uruk-hai, rather. And I find out what his weaknesses are. So I face him, and we have a little fight and a rumble, and I think he ends up either killing me or he ends up retreating. I see him. I find then some information on him, and that entails his weaknesses, his strengths. So basically, how to kill him quite easily and the things to watch out for when you're fighting with him. Anyway, I meet him again, and he's like, "Oh." You know, because you have a little cutscene when you sort of see these people again. And he's like, "Oh, I thought you got away from me, did you, Ranger? Well, I'm here to finish the job," sort of thing. And then by this point, I know that he's vulnerable to arrows and ranged attacks. So I get out my elf shot, I get my arrows out, and I aim at him, and I manage to shoot him in the face. And that's it. I take him out.
Such a good feeling the first time you did that.
So it was an amazing, amazing feeling. And I'm like, well, dude's fucking dead. That's it. Game over for you, sir. Then, not 10 minutes or so later, whilst I'm playing, dude comes back. Dude comes back. He's got like a metal sort of armoured eye patch over him. And I see him, and I'm literally in shock. I'm like, I fucking killed you. And he's like, "Oh, you left me for dead after that shot in the eye." And I'm like, "You are dead. No. Why are you back?" And but it's the most epic feeling, and it makes you so invested and so involved in these little, these nemesises that you create and make, and it's just, my God, I love this game so much. And I was like the biggest, I was very anxious about it and negative to begin with.
I remember me having this conversation with you when I saw it at was it like E3? I was like, man, you are going to love this game. It's going to be super sick. It's going to be awesome. That Nemesis system looks amazing. The gameplay looks amazing. You were just like, nah. And I was just like, you wait, man. You just wait. And then it came out and the reviews are like raving mad, and then you've got your hands in it now. And I love the fact that you're loving it. It's fantastic.
I mean, I've said it before on the podcast, and I'll say it again. I didn't want to be a negative Nancy about it. I didn't want to dislike it. I wanted it to be... Because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. Anything Lord of the Rings, I want to be successful and good. And it's amazing. And the story and the lore so far, amazing.
Awesome.
The cutscene, the tutorial even. The tutorial is probably one of the best tutorials I've ever played in a game.
It's not bad.
It isn't sort of like, oh, press A to attack, or press X to, or whatever, and you just sort of attack someone for a little bit. It was story, and it was the sort of prologue of Talion's story, and it was just amazing.
As of tutorials for games and intros for games, doesn't get much better than BioShock.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. I shit my pants.
Love
First time I
BioShock.
played that game. Well, actually, I still shit my pants now, and I've played that game about 9 times. I'm like,
yeah,
it's gonna kill me.
The only thing I wish I could take back about BioShock is knowing how it ends and everything like that, because I'll never have that first time experience again, which I love BioShock. But yeah, no, but the combat system in Shadows of Mordor, so fluid, so unbelievably fluid. It doesn't feel staggered. It's basically Arkham style combat, but at its finest, at its absolute finest. And even
I love the combat system in some of the new Batman games, and watching you play the Shadows of Mordor one, it is very much you can dodge them when they're swinging for you, and then you're attacking someone and you're on that one, then you're flipping over that one, and it looks very, very cool.
But at the same time, it's still hard as balls. If you fuck up, it punishes you. You know, because this is one thing I thought when I was looking at gameplay footage before it was released. I was thinking, this looks far too easy. You basically look invincible, but you are not. If you miss a counter, or if you don't dodge appropriately, you get fucked. And those little quick time events where you've got that last chance to sort of
the amount of times I've hit the wrong button.
You know, the amount of times I've either hit the wrong button or not been fast enough. It punishes you, and it's good. It's good. You're not invincible, and I can't think of enough words and ways to say how awesome this game is.
It does get a little bit. Well, it does get easier, but once you're into the flow and the speed of it, like, it gets a little bit easier. And also, once you've picked up a couple of, like, once you've worked out like relevant abilities, i.e., there's one which is I think it's a wraith ability. It's on the wraith side at least, but basically allows you to vault over the top of your enemies. But as you vault, you stun them. So like, it gives you, if you're in the middle of like a million people, you can literally just go like, that guy's destroying me, that guy's destroying me, that guy's destroying me. I need a way out, and just like some distance, vault stun one guy, vault stun another, kill one while those two are recovering, wait for the people to come back round me again, counter, parry, kill some people, vault stun somebody else, and then like finishing people off on the floor and stuff while they're stunned. Like, the combat is really, really intricate in that game, and it's just
so fluid. It's just so fluid. It feels so natural. And, you know, nothing feels janky or awkward. Even the free running, the climbing, the jumping, all of it just feels so natural, so easy, so effortless. It's all of those things that generally you have a problem with in games, like, you know, the climbing and the parkour in Uncharted can be a little bit wanky sometimes. And
I love that vlog. My favourite vlog of yours. It's wonderful. It's just like,
but it's like, you know, sometimes you jump and it will jump over there, and oh great, you've made yourself fall to your death. Thank you for that game. You know, but there's none of that. I've not found anything that I think, oh, that's a bit off. That's a bit shit.
So you like it then?
It's all right. So I suppose. Bless you, Josh. I suppose move on slightly, because otherwise we end up talking about this for the entire rest of the episode. But I got The Last of Us Remastered, which I'm yet to play, but I'm wanting to live stream that at some point.
I want to play that game so much.
Really looking forward to playing it. Little Big Planet 3, again, yet to play it. Wanting to play that with Tasha, because we love Little Big Planets. Possibly live stream that. With some people, maybe. Might need to get some more controllers, but because we only got 2 at the moment.
I'm really looking forward to coming around and playing Little Big Planet.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. If you guys can come round, both of you, that'd be awesome to play. Because Little Big Planet is just a laugh. It's just such a great game. And I've delved back into a little bit of Pokemon Sapphire or Alpha Sapphire as well, but you know, it's only sort of bits and pieces. Sort of like, I've been playing it in like 15-minute segments when I got a chance, so not a lot, but yeah. So that's basically what I've been playing. Shadows of Mordor, what up? Can't wait to play more of that game. So yes, I suppose if we're good to move on with
I'm good.
Topic. So this month's topic for the podcast, we've decided to sort of talk about genres or gaming genres and the games that have helped sort of define. Sorry, I was looking for the word. Help define those genres or really stand out as the best of that genre in whatever way, shape or form. So we're going to sort of suggest a couple of genres and talk about them as we go. And yeah, I suppose, I don't know, who wants to go first with what genre?
Why don't we go with shooter?
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to start?
Shooter.
Go, Minty, go.
Are we talking FPS?
why don't we just do both? We'll just do FPS and then 3PS.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, for a genre-defining FPS game, I would go with Wolfenstein 3D as one of the first ones. It came out around the same time as the first Doom game, just for FPS shooters. They set it up. They were amazingly fun games. Terrible graphically now, but at the time you're playing it, you're thinking this is.
But they're classic. I think most shooters can hold their thanks to Doom in some way or Wolfenstein in some way. Yeah. You know, they were the defining or the first to define the FPS genre.
Well, it goes down to it's a credit to itself in the fact that they are still making Wolfenstein and Doom games under the same title, because they were setting up then, and they're still good now. So yeah, they are genre-defining games in terms of shooters. I think
the last Wolfenstein game, I don't know if there's been one since or whatever.
New Order.
I don't. It might be New Order, yeah. But it had absolutely raving reviews. It has no multiplayer functionality whatsoever. It is a single-player, story-driven first-person shooter, harkening back to like those old school days, and is
I started live
apparently sublime, and it's released.
I started live streaming it the other week. The World Order, New Order, and it's a really good game. There is a lot of elements that if you'd played the first Wolfenstein 3D game and you're playing that one, you'd think, well, that's quite the same. Like you're going around picking up chalices and stuff, like for money and
like collectibles and stuff.
Yeah, or eating dog food for health. It's the same sort of thing you did in the 3D, which you can now do in the new gen.
Because I can only talk about Wolfenstein New Order from what I've heard from other podcasts and people I've listened to on YouTube talk about it, and Total Biscuit for one, and Jesse Cox. I think people like that who've played it and hearing them talk about it. But it's one of the best. They've said it's one of the best shooters we've had in some years. Like, it's a great, as you said, Josh, great story-driven game. It's about 12 hours long, so none of this bollocks 4-hour campaign and then a massive focus on multiplayer like Call of Duty. I mean, I don't think this game has multiplayer at all.
Nope, not at all.
It's just a single-player story-driven shooter that does shooting very well, the story very well, and it's just those sort of shooters we want back.
It's the ones that now they've forgotten, like stuff like COD and Modern Warfare and the Medal of Honor games. They don't have a massively long single-player game anymore. It is all about the online. Whereas Wolfenstein was all about the single-player game because there is no online. It's just such a good game.
I think they've done a good move there, massively, because they could have quite easily done a Wolfenstein. Hello, cat. You're very loud. I hope you can't be heard. But like, it could have quite easily gone down the route of, right, let's do a multiplayer because everyone else is doing it. We've got to compete with games like COD, who've got a great multiplayer, which quite a few games kind of do. Even Uncharted did it for a bit in an attempt to have a multiplayer online, arena shooter for some reason.
The problem is though that when you delve into multiplayer, you delve into a very similar scenario as you do when you're a new MMO on the scene, where it's just like, there's no way you're ever going to be able to beat WoW, in the same respect as you're never ever going to be able to do multiplayer as well as Activision can, because they've been honing that since Call of Duty 4 was the big hit
unless you do something new and innovative, which sometimes developers don't have the balls to do, really. But I think it was a brave move for... Sorry?
Even with innovation, that you find that multiplayer dies very, very quickly on games that aren't... like Call of Duty, the campaign is just a tutorial for the multiplayer. That's the way it is. But
it's a good way of describing it, actually.
For example, BioShock 2 had a multiplayer. Very, very different kind of multiplayer.
I really enjoyed BioShock 2 multiplayer.
I did as well, but if you go play BioShock 2 now, no multiplayer.
Yeah, no, of course.
You go back to play Call of Duty 4,
people still play
games.
Yeah. So, but I think because it was Bethesda published it, they didn't develop it, did they? Wolfenstein, sorry.
Wolfenstein, yeah.
New Order.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just excuse me 2 seconds.
I'm not certain on that one.
I know Bethesda published it. I don't think they made it. I can't remember. But whoever sort of made it and published it, they I think they did it was a very brave move of them and a very smart move to just think, no, you know what, we're going to stick with the single player. We're going to stick with the story mode. We're going to make this the best FPS we can.
Yeah.
For what it is.
So Wolfenstein New Order. Publisher was Bethesda. Developer Machine Games.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, definitely harkens back to when FPSs were just shooting games that were just story games, you know? I mean, like Doom and Wolfenstein, I mean, they didn't really have much of a story as such, but
no.
It was just sort of run around, grab a load of keys and shoot shit up.
Yeah.
But obviously from that sort of simple idea, it's progressed into so much more, and I think that it's quite evident in many games to this day.
Yeah, I mean, even you go down to the sound files and stuff they use shooting it when enemies die in Doom. You still get those same screams and sound files in some of modern games, even modern. So
yeah,
Wilhelm
them
screams.
things out. What? Sorry, Josh.
Wilhelm screams and stuff.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, like that. All the big ones, and you still get them in some of the modern games, and you're like, oh, I remember that when it first used. Maybe
nostalgia, showing your age there.
Yeah,
I'm into.
I'm old. I'm okay with it.
Come to peace with it.
But like, I remember playing the original Doom games because my dad had a CD. He got it either from a friend at work or something, but he got a CD that had Doom 1 and 2 in it, and I used to play them as a kid, and it used to scare the absolute shit out of me. Just because of the sort of like dark material of it, I suppose. Like, you know, obviously the demons coming from fucking hell, and you'd walk around these dark levels and dark rooms and open up a door, and there'd be some motherfucker go rah right coming at you.
Yeah, they're coming from hell unless you've seen the film, in which case, you know, it's all a virus and they're all changing.
Oh.
Can't hate on Carla.
Let's not talk about movie films. Let's just not do it to ourselves.
Movie films, yes, Rob.
Film.
Those popular.
Movie. God damn it! Those movie films that them kids are watching nowadays.
Yeah.
All the violence that make teenagers go up and shoot up their local school.
Whoa.
Moving on. So yes, Doom and Wolfenstein, very good choices for innovative shooters. But what have we seen sort of since then? I mean,
Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, and there might be one more. I feel for me the big one was Medal of Honor.
Mm.
In like on a more like recent generation, like. Yeah. Or that there was that trend for a very, very long time of World War games, and Medal of Honor was still limited. Like, you know, it obviously didn't particularly have multiplayer capacity because it was kind of before, you know, it was pre like broadband internet connection and like.
And again, that's when we had good shooters because they were story driven. I mean, there weren't great stories, but they were still I was still invested in something. Medal of Honor, Rising Sun.
Yeah, man.
What I'm gonna say.
Shit's awesome.
Love that game.
Yeah, but the other one that I think is a totally like genre-defining game, and it is very recent actually, retrospectively considering we're talking about Doom and Wolfenstein and even Medal of Honor, is Call of Duty 4. I think.
Yeah.
You know, it was the catalyst for the modern age, and everyone was obviously getting a bit sick of just like. World War II shooters and blah 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 blah.
It definitely changed up the way we look at that sort of war genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I mean, I for one, like, I know I sort of get on the COD hate train quite a lot.
No, you don't.
But back in the day, I played Modern Warfare online. I thought the story was really good actually because I did enjoy the campaign. It was a little bit longer than some of the campaigns nowadays, but hey ho. But the multiplayer, and as you say, Josh, you know, how defining is it? Because it's still to this day got a popular multiplayer.
And it was probably the first one with multiplayer, I guess, in terms of Call of Duty games. And you know, still play to this day.
Which I suppose, even for its time, like because this is when consoles were getting the online connections and the internet connections, and people were getting more connected through gaming on a console rather than over a PC. And this is kind of probably one of the first real popular online shooter games, like for consoles anyway. I think that's safe to say, was Modern Warfare. And Halo, yeah.
Oh, yeah, when we mentioned Halo, haven't we?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean Halo. I mean, I've not played Halo, so.
Well, none of them.
No.
I've played 3, and I've played Reach, and I played a little bit of ODST, but don't fucking play that game. It was.
I've played all of them.
How would you feel that Halo's worth mentioning in some respect or another to the shooter genre? I mean, obviously it's a very, very popular series, but
definitely
what
Halo
defines it?
The difference between like COD and Halo is that Halo has a massive, massive single player storyline.
Yeah,
it stretches over every single game. ODST is a bit off on a tangent, but that's because they can't.
You're playing as an ODST and not a Spartan in that one.
Yeah.
So
you can't really argue with that one because it had
that Halo lore,
Nathan Fillion and the Firefly crew doing the voices and stuff. That I love it just for that. So, but the storyline in Halo is massively long. It stretches over countless games now, and it's still got a massive online presence as well, which is one of the ones that's nailed it down. It's one of the best shooters, and technically, I suppose, kind of an RPG because it's got like a load of role play in it, maybe.
I think the other thing about Halo as well is that what sets it apart, and also what helps it sort of like define itself, is like there's not really many multiplayers like Halo anymore because it's all about your loadout, and it's not about drops on the map, for example. Like to play Halo and to play Halo well, you needed to be able to you needed to know what happened at you with a gravity hammer, apart from run the other way and hope for the fucking best. There was, run into that sniper, run into that energy sword, like learning the map, being able to pilot the vehicles on the maps and things like that. And that was very important.
It's a bit of a shame Nick isn't here, who's not been on the podcast for quite a while, sadly. It's a shame he can't be here tonight because I know he loved Halo. He played Halo online a lot. Like a lot of his 360 days was spent playing like Halo 3 and all that. So I'm pretty sure he'd be able to comment quite well on the online multiplayer, like you were saying, because I think he was pretty skilled at it. So.
Man, I was there when the first Halo came out on the original Xbox. It was awesome. We used to spend hours and hours on like Blood Gulch, just going finding one end to the other, and just oh yeah. And there was some of the best maps, some of the best fun. You just had to, it was pretty much who could get rifle the fastest was pretty much the game of it. Then you just sit up and find a place and shoot them all. It was great.
I tell you what, they're talking about time spent on Halo. After I broke it from secondary school, so obviously you get that extended, like Christmas, like the extended summer break. You get
summer
about 10
break,
weeks.
yeah.
Well, yeah, 12 hours a day for 10 weeks. I played Halo.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like I used to be
Halo.
like that, but with COD, Modern Warfare.
I did that with Call of Duty
and then
as well.
further that when World at War came out, which I
wow.
loved that game.
World at War was amazing.
World at War was my favourite COD game.
Didn't like that one.
You didn't?
Nope, not at all.
I really liked it. I liked the World War II style. I liked the storyline as well. I thought the campaign was great, and then the online was brilliant. But one of my favourite maps of Modern Warfare, I think, was oh god, what was it called?
Crash.
I can't remember. But
Crash is the best one with the helicopter in the middle. That is such a sick map. I love that map.
It was the one that was like in a sort of Soviet country sort of style, but it was like a block of flats. It was like a long map.
Yeah,
and
I know what you mean.
It was
I can't remember what it was called, but I would hide myself up in outside one of the windows, and I'd snipe. I was a sniper, and I would camp and fuck it. It'd be headshot after headshot after headshot after headshot. Like nowadays, I couldn't prove that I was that good of a sniper in those games. But back in the day, you couldn't test me. You could not test me. No way. I would be highest kill streak, lowest number of personal, like my kills, or death rather, and it'd be headshots all the way. So sorry, due to technical difficulties, we had to sort out. So that's why there's like some weird gap now, or jump as it were. But moving on with sort of shooters. So we've spoken about COD and Halo for a while as sort of the modern shooter or the modern FPS. But I think it's worth mentioning within that a game that I personally love, and which we sort of spoke about a little bit previously at the start of the podcast, and that's BioShock. Not massively for its innovation as a first-person shooter, because it's not a great FPS, but I suppose it's innovation in its addition to what it brings to the FPS. So the plasmids and things like that, where you've got your two hands, one that's got a magical power of some sort, and then using that in addition to the pow pow kapow with the guns.
Wonderful.
I mean, it doesn't. I think the gunplay is got better as BioShock has gone on. So Infinite,
very smooth in 3.
Yeah, Infinite I thought was 10 times better than the gunplay in 1. And then even the innovation in 2, where they said, actually, let's have the gun and the plasmid hand, so you can use them at the same time. You don't have to swap, which again in itself is an innovation for that game.
The panic though is part of the charm, because obviously BioShock is it's not really dystopian, but it's kind of like post-apocalyptic. It's in its own way, and because you're it's very claustrophobic, it's very dark, the enemies are very jumpy, they're very scary, and sometimes when you're just empty my revolver at some guy, shit, backpedal, and it takes you a minute to pull your plasmid up. I think it's cool because it kind of adds to the
those great elements of because I deem really BioShock to be a survival horror game. Mm-hmm. Perhaps not one of the best, and I'm sure we'll move on to horrors at some point. But I sort of deem it, or put it under that subcategory, I suppose, of a survival horror game.
I can see that.
Not to the same degree, obviously, as things like Dead Space and Resident Evil, or the original ones anyway, and Silent Hill, the original ones. But it's definitely, I think, in one of those sort of subcategories. But as a story-driven FPS.
Yeah,
it's one of the best. It's one of the best. And BioShock Infinite, I mean, all BioShock games, the only way I can properly describe them, they're an experience. They're an experience. They really are.
Yeah, I've just started doing a bit of a live stream of BioShock Infinite, and it's
such a great game.
Such a beautiful game as well.
It's beautiful.
It's visually stunning.
Just get out. You get through the first part. You go out. You get the whole baptism thing. You go under the water. You pop out on the next bit, and you're just looking around, and there's all these floating islands.
Skyboxes
on it.
Just
I got BioShock Infinite 2 years back for Christmas from my girlfriend, and for the PlayStation 3, and I started playing it on Boxing Day, and finished it I think the day after. I put that game in and absorbed it. I played through it. I couldn't stop playing. I'd start playing at, say, 7, sort of just after we've had dinner or whatever. Look at my clock, look at my watch. Oh my God, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yep. Where did it's that sort of game. It's one of those games, it's so engaging, so engrossing. Even the first one and the second one.
I'm not going to lie how amazing, I'm not disputing how good Infinite is. However, I've actually not completed it. I've literally just got to the part where he takes Elizabeth, and I've had that game for fucking ages. I bought it after I watched you Let's Play it, or at least part of it. I stopped after a bit because I was just I want to play this. Obviously, I want because BioShock, as you said, is an experience. I didn't want to ruin the there's always a twist.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Twist, I mean, obviously, as a sort of Let's Play gamer YouTuber, obviously you want people to see your content, but at the same time, BioShock has got such an amazing storyline and a twist and everything like that I don't blame you if you bought it after watching some of my Let's Play and wanting to get it and experience it for yourself. Then go for it, because that.
It's just a sad thing is I actually haven't experienced it yet, because I played the first one to death. I pre-ordered the second one on the basis of the strength of the first and how much I loved it. Then never got around to picking it up when it came out, and then watched some of your Let's Play and thought, oh man, BioShock's fucking awesome. I forgot how much I love this, and then I just haven't got back around to playing it. But I do need to.
I remember the first time I played it, and then I completed it and got to the twist and all that, and it's still to this day. I've played that game so many times, so many damn times. It's still to this day one of my favourite games of all time. And it's still, even going back, I mean, when was this game released? 2005, 2006? It's still a great looking game. It still plays brilliantly. It holds up. It fucking holds up.
Totally.
I mean, would you kindly tell me who the publisher of the game?
2K.
2K, yeah. They make some awesome games, to be fair, 2K. If they do any more. Yes, they do. They do the hockey games and stuff now. I think they've kind of got more, yeah.
I think it was 2K Boston, I think, did Bioshock.
Yeah.
And then Bioshock 2 was done by 2K Marine, who were, who were based in Australia, but I think they're now closed. They've been closed for a number of years now. But and obviously,
it's like lots of people hate on Bioshock 2, but I really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it as well.
Superb.
It didn't. It compared to Bioshock 1, you know, it wasn't as long, wasn't a sort of epic, but it was still a great. Hello, noisy cat.
It's it's a tough bloody act to follow, though.
Yeah, oh, definitely. But I prefer the gameplay in Bioshock 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, with the plasmid and the gun sort of in this, you know, being very easily accessible and being a big daddy. Yeah, just love it. That drill.
I love the drill, man.
Some of the things you can do, so good.
So yeah, I remember the first time I drilled my first enemy, and it was awesome.
Glorious.
It was amazing. I mean, what kind of moving on a little bit, I guess, to like third-person shooters.
Oh, I've got a big one.
Go for it.
Really?
Huh? Minty, I'll remind you, it's not that sort of podcast.
Live nubbin on it.
But speaking of third-person shooters, one of the games that made me buy an Xbox 360, and that's Gears of War.
Yeah.
Gears of War. I love Gears of War. I love that series. Again, story-driven, heavily story-driven shooter with a great multiplayer. To me, it goes to show that COD, hey, you can do both, believe it or not. You can have a focus on both and make them brilliant. You can do it. And also, it's one of the, I don't know if it was the first, but it's definitely one of those that stands out that uses the sort of cover and shoot mechanic very well. And again, has something that has innovated that system. And from then on, you see many games adopt that system. I think the latest Tomb Raider did. Uncharted definitely does.
The mantling, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could sort of argue on the cover system. The thing that I like about no, it doesn't even really do that actually, because I was about to say, like, I thought that it innovated the Splinter Cell approach to cover in Conviction, which is more of a third-person shooter game. Is when you go to cover, you can look out, and then if you look at the next bit of cover you target it, you can click A, and then you automatically like bolt to that next bit of cover and cover against it. But I don't think Gears did that, because Gears kind of did that. You pick your next piece of cover, and then when you like run, like you hold down A to dash, and then you just like stick. If that makes sense, rather than actually being able to like target and then like move. Yeah. But I mean, I think for me, the game that really, really did covering and like that kind of like it's like hybrid first person, third person. It's one of my favorite games ever. Is Rainbow Six Vegas, and like Rainbow Six Vegas 2 specifically from that, like that kind of you get like first person, then you'd like go into cover and you'd hold left trigger, and it'd like destroy like physics and stuff, as you'd be able to shoot people through walls, and you'd have like night vision and heat vision and all sorts of cool stuff. And I thought, for me, like in terms of just like innovative gameplay for like sort of like modern third person shooters, things like Ghost Recon, and I'm trying to think of like how many more there are that are similar to that, but you don't really tend to get too many third-person shooters nowadays, actually, really. But things like that, I feel that Rainbow Six had a really big hand in putting that all together. But Gears is definitely up there for.
Gears stands out to me indefinitely.
Gears is great,
and the fact that the cover and shoot system is so key and vital to that combat, I love, because it's not like COD where you sort of just run about and you sort of maybe like crouch behind something, but it's not imperative. Whereas that cover and shoot system in Gears is...
if you stick your head out, you're dying.
Yeah, love it.
So good. I mean, countless times on is it Gridlock? You'd perch behind a car, and there'd always be that one managed to run to the sniper, and there'd be like this much of your head poking out from the car, and all of a sudden, screen would go red.
Oh,
your brain
scared the
would go
cat
missing.
then. Sorry, mate.
Gone. Like, I think the cool thing Gears did as well was just very seamless co-op.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I spent a lot of hours with somebody I used to work with playing Gears of War on co-op, see if we can get through the entire thing. And it's you'd be using cover, you'd be shooting for 1 minute, and then they'd be going to the next bit of cover, then they cover you, or she leapfrog through the level.
Over and over and over. Yeah, I mean, my first experience of Gears of War really was playing with my friend Smokey. Like he was the one. He was like the big advocate of Gears of War for me. And I picked up my 360 literally because my friend Smokey was just like, look, multiplayer is incredible, story's great, love the game, super violent. Your machine gun has a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
sounds
That's
good
what
to
sold.
me.
That's what sold me on it. That's pretty much what sold me on it.
Lancers are just one of the most iconic weapons in video games
Yeah,
now as well. For that exact
definitely.
reason.
And just the game at the time. I mean, it looks a little bit dated now, I think,
Still really nice.
but it still holds up, definitely.
Still lovely looking.
But I just remember the first time seeing that and just being absolutely blown away by it. I mean, I'm not a massive graphics whore. Games aren't sold to me on that basis. But sometimes it helps. And that game looked stunning.
It's just the polish on it, really, though, because it's just like, really functional, useful, like, mechanics, really strong, defined story.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just like to top it all off, just beautifully polished graphics for the time. Like, really, really nicely done. Great job there by Epic.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that's, if we're safe to move on, I think that's shooters sort of nicely covered.
Yeah, in the bag.
Well, maybe horrors, because we sort of I briefly touched on them, sort of.
Yeah, go for it. So I'm just gonna leap straight in.
Go for it.
I'm gonna go with my vote for this one: Resident Evil 4. Fuck that game.
Probably the most iconic of the Resident Evil games, and probably one of the most iconic survival horror games of all time.
I disagree with that one.
Beautiful.
First Resident Evil, all the way.
Resident Evil 1's great.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about picking up the HD remake of that when I've got some money.
I remember playing it when it first came out. Yeah, I know, I'm old. Yeah.
90,
The original.
92 was that? 94?
Something like that. I don't know. I'm old. Okay. So
94. My God, I was 2.
it was the.
Or 1, rather. I was 1. 1 years old.
Yeah, I'm older than you, mate.
Yeah.
And, so you got it. The first time you walk through the game, you're being chased into the big house. So you get in the house and you're like, Barry! And because you're playing as Jill. You got her in you. And so you go through the bit and you see your first zombie. All you see is the cutscene. There's a guy leaning on everybody and he turns around and you go the.
That's just one of the most iconic scenes in video game history of all time. Is that zombie
You look at it
reveal.
now and it looks proper shit. Back then you watch it and you're like, oh my god.
I'm guessing with the remake, though, it looks real good.
Do what, sorry?
Like, because I've just done a HD remake of it. Like, obviously, still same game and still in the same way, but obviously just polish up the graphics. I bet that bit looks real good. Like, and it looks intense.
On me one. Is it on the one? I don't know.
Not sure.
I don't know if it's on the one, but it's 360 sure. So
Yeah, I'll probably get on the 360 then because I loved the original game. It was one that got me massively. It is the one that got me into Resident Evil games. I mean, I've played all of them, even like the Code Veronica and the Operation Raccoon City games, and I recently picked up one of the newer ones. Is it 6? I think I can't remember.
It's just the latest one.
Yeah, 6. I got that one. I haven't played it as much as I should. It's still quite fun, but they've gone more into a it's more combat based.
From my knowledge, I've not really played Resident Evil, but from my knowledge, it's become basically because Gears of War's really popular, COD's really popular. Let's do that, but with Resident Evil.
It's essentially like a third person COD,
which is a bit of a shame, really, especially to die-hard fans. Yeah,
they've got a massive following of Resident Evil, and they're kind of edging away from that now, and it's just not as good.
It's a shame. It's a shame when a series sort of loses its heart.
The one really upsetting thing for me was when they changed from zombies to parasites.
Yeah,
I was just a bit like,
let's plug us. Yeah, they did that.
Yeah, but I mean that happened in 4.
Was it 4?
That was the first one to start with parasites. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, first one with parasites was 4, and then obviously they developed on that in 5.
Oh, that
But
was
like,
the Leon one, wasn't it? The
Leon
Leon.
Kennedy, yeah, rescue the president's daughter,
Yeah, Ashley.
Ashley. Yeah,
I spent a
fucking
lot of time
annoying
on that, playing it on
bitch.
the Wii. Was it?
Fucking
Yeah.
annoying fucking escort. Fuck. Oh, stupid bitch.
Yeah.
Keep up.
So I spent a lot
Go
of time
get.
playing that on the Wii, around the missus' house when we were younger, and you just sit there with the clicky remote on one bit and then the joystick in the other hand, and it was a lot of fun. She got fed up with it because it kept going to the trade and all he's saying is, "What are you selling? What are you buying?" She's
What
like,
you buying? What are you
yeah,
selling?
yeah, that one. And he just kept saying
Yeah.
that over and over again. And she was like, "Can you just mute it?" No. Yeah.
But I think but isn't it? It's funny because this is something that has been a running theme with survival horror games. Everything's had the Resident Evil effect, I suppose, of it. Dead Space is my
Survival horror one.
yeah is my addition to this conversation, because I've not played many survival horror games, and Dead Space is probably the only one I've really sort of played. And the first one, amazing.
Shit, yeah.
Amazing game. And even that, I think at the time, was everyone harkened back to Resident Evil 4. And look, we've not had a survival horror game like this since Resident Evil 4, and look how much it sort of borrows from it or is inspired by it, that sort of thing. And really it was kind of like the first good, almost Alien, the film,
Yeah, it's
the
very-
movies,
very
Alien sort of inspired
Alien.
game that we've ever had, which is great because Alien's a fantastic film.
That's great.
But but even that, I've got Dead Space 2 just sitting on my bookshelf there, or sitting on the game shelf, whatever. I still yet to play it, and yet to play Dead Space 3 as well. But obviously I've heard the series sort of goes downhill a little bit and loses what the charm and the survival horror aspect that the first one had, and becomes, again, like Resident Evil has, just a big shooter. But at the same time, I think Dead Space is definitely one of those that innovated and brought the modern, or showed that there was room for modern survival horror.
Yeah.
It did a lot of things right, and switched things up a little bit, which was great because the story is phenomenal. Love the story in Dead Space.
Story's great. I mean, I found that with Dead Space, it stopped scaring me a little bit.
I think that's the thing with all
'Cause
survival horrors
just
eventually.
No, because with Dead Space, obviously, because you're in very, very confined spaces all the time. Whereas the beautiful thing about things like Resident Evil, a one that I want to go on to in a little while, is Silent Hill. But lots of the time you're in open spaces, and you're never quite sure where something is going to pop from. But with Dead Space, you'd be walking down the corridor and you'd see the grate, or you'd see the dead alien on the floor, and you're just like, okay, here we go. Like, I mean, you got wise to it after a little while, I found.
Yeah.
The story in it was still really, really good. I mean, I never actually ended up completing it in the end, just because it stopped giving me the fear, which was what I really played it for, almost, just because I haven't had a game scare me since, Resi 4, or the big one I really want to talk about, and I don't know if Minty's played it, and he probably has, if I'm honest, is
Because he's that old.
Just seems right up his street, if I'm honest, but Silent Hill 2. That
When I
game
played
is...
the original one.
Silent Hill 2 is, without a doubt, the most fucking frightening game I've ever played, ever. Ever.
No, I only played
terrifying.
the first one, and that was enough. I say
That was enough.
I played the first. I say I played for. I never completed the first one. I played for about half an hour, and shat myself so much that I couldn't play it anymore.
Nope.
They're fucking
Nope.
ominous, those games.
Remember when that first came out, there was the massive drama because when you're in the first Silent Hill game and you're going through the school and there's those little things with the knives creeping after you. They were originally made as a dead, and then they came after all that, and then there was the massive hoopla. They had to change it into these little things that weren't really that human, and but it was still just as shit scary. Walking through alleyways and there's these people hung up on chain link fences, and
Turn the radio up, just hear the crackle, just like, oh, fucking hell.
Even when nothing's there, you're still shitting yourself.
Yeah, you just hear it spike occasionally, and you're just like, I'll never forget, like, the first time I played it, the first time I like, you know, my friend was, I played with my friend, and he was just like, turn the radio up because you'll need that. I was like, okay, sure, turn it up or whatever. Just walking through and just seeing the first like disfigured thing just creep out of them. Oh my god.
Probably thank fuck for pause buttons.
Yeah, literally, like, you know, if only Silent Hill 2 did what Five Nights at Freddy did, which was just like escape key just closes the game, just fuck that, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't do it.
But I think, like, speaking of Silent Hill, obviously last year we had the huge sort of demo PT, which ended up being the sort of trailer, almost the trailer demo for Silent Hills. Which obviously the last couple of years, probably since Dead Space 1, we've not really had much in the way of good survival horror, except for what the indie market has. And thank God for the indie market, because it's really brought out some great survival horror games. You know, Five Nights at Freddy's,
like you said, Five Nights at Freddy's,
Outlast, to name a few more. I forget, but sorry, Slender Man. Yeah. I mean, there's not been much on the market for that, but PT, I think, shows that there is still a want and a desire for mainstream console-based survival horrors. I mean, I've not played PT, but I've watched people play it. Even that was enough. Yeah. That scared the shit out of me. And I watched Jesse Cox play it with a couple of his friends. They were drunk when they were playing it, but I mean, my God, it was great content to watch, but it was scary as balls. So scary. And you know, I'm looking forward to seeing. Hopefully, Silent Hills will be a good sort of testament to the classic survival horror games.
This is always my problem with the thing. It's just like, I'm always craving like good survival horror games, but then because the way that the demographic for the market is at the moment, like Minty was saying with Resident Evil 6, it's just an action adventure with zombies now. Like, and like you find that, you know, I hope that Silent Hill really does just like pull it back to its grassroots, like Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2, the original like 4 Resident Evil games, you know, taking influence from, you know, things like Whistleblower or
because that's the thing, like, people say there's not a demographic, but there clearly is. I mean, indie's a testament to that. And you know, like, although a lot of the mainstream gamers, you know, playing Call of Duty and stuff like that, and you know, that's perceived to be what everyone all over the world plays. But just a quick side note: there's more people that play League of Legends than there are people that play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. But then again, like when Big Boss Man is looking through his facts and figures at Activision or Ubisoft
and seeing what sells,
he's seeing Call of Duty sells, he sees FIFA sells, he sees,
and it's a shame.
You know,
it's a crying shame.
Action adventure titles sell, and you can turn them over quickly, like, and then all of a sudden, like, something that takes time to craft, like you know, like your Resident Evil, like your Silent Hill, like your, you know, your PT or whatever, like, you know, they're kind of forgotten because they just take so long to get right, because obviously you have to get, you know, like a lot of the things that is like disturbing in a horror game isn't the fact that it's a scare, but it's the fact that the atmosphere builds to that point where you are just uneasy walking through the safest part of the game, and that's, you know, and it just, you know, you need time to really focus your energies on that, and they just don't have time to do it because, you know, Call of Duty sells.
Yeah, you got to spend time to make a decent, long-lasting game, whereas you can mass-produce this other shit within a couple of months.
Like something like Call of Duty Zombies, you know, it's not really ominous. It's just fucking zombies dressed as Nazis. Like,
yeah. Or in exosuits now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah. I mean, survival horror we done, or horror in general?
Have a quick cast my mind through. I think for me, those are the ones I really wanted to talk about: Silent Hill, Resident Evil. So I think unless Minty's got anything more to add.
No, I was going to mention Five Nights at Freddy's, but that's been mentioned, and yeah, as a lot of the what do you call it? The market, the amateur market, the
indie market. The
Yeah.
amateur market.
Well, you know, they're not proper ones, are they?
Oh
I do
dear.
think they're proper ones, all right. They get flamed entirely.
How to Piss Off the Internet by Minty Lamb.
Da,
Yeah.
da, da, da.
And I've got no viewers. Right. Wait, no, I don't. Yeah, so the amateur, indie games have pretty much captured the market now, haven't they? Them ones, on a horror one, and that's pretty much that.
Cool. So I'm going to move swiftly on. RPGs.
Rupagas.
My favourite of all genres.
Is it? That's a shocker.
Yeah, I know, right? Who knew? Who knew?
RPG. Fable.
Ugh. Okay.
Go on, trend setting.
Anyway, no, I'm joking. Yeah, so Fable definitely, I think, innovated in many respects, although not in everything that they promised, which is the sad state of affairs that Peter Molyneux does.
The game that was going to change where everything is done, and
it was literally it was marketed to be the RPG that changes RPGs forever.
No,
it didn't.
No, it was a very good RPG.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
it was a fantastic.
Very well voice acted
spent
as well.
so many times, so many hours on the original one, and well, on the other two as well, unfortunately. But it just wasn't going to be an amazing, world-changing game. It didn't have that capability.
No,
it was still brilliant.
I think just because it's very, very British in its in itself as well, which I think is one of the reasons that we all quite like it. Because
one of the
like
charms,
British sense of humour, like humour, but
some of it's very Monty Python-esque, I think.
Elsewhere, yeah.
I mean, everyone loves an underdog.
Like a character like Reaver, for example.
Brilliant.
He's just wonderfully
Stephen Fry.
Yeah, just wonderfully like Monty Python-esque almost, I guess, like, and just very, very like sarcastic, very British, very like. Very funny to people who have sense of humour as akin to us, but perhaps not to other people.
I mean, the game's got such charm. Like, I didn't play the original Fable until a couple of years ago when I played it and Let's Played it at the same time. So the Let's Play, shameless self-plug, the Let's Play of Fable that I've got on my channel is my first ever experience with the original Fable game. The first Fable game I played was Fable 2, and I remember Nick, again, who I mentioned previously, he showed me the trailer for this game. He was like, "You've got to see this game." And I saw the opening, the trailer for it, and I was like, "My God, this game looks amazing." I was just blown away by the beautiful art style that it's got and the unique aesthetic look that it's got. To me, it's very, and obviously, sadly, rest in peace. I think it was last week that he sadly passed away. But it's very Terry Pratchett-esque, I think. Some of the art, it just reminds me of some of the artwork I've seen from Terry Pratchett, or some of the Terry Pratchett books.
Yeah, the Discworld novels.
Yeah.
Curving lines on buildings and things like that would have the sort of way I'd picture a Terry Pratchett village being in his books is the same way it would be in Fable. Yeah,
very warped, very sort of
caricatured almost.
Very strangely proportioned characters, you know, with sort of like massive gloves and, you know, skinny arms. I think it's just such a beautiful charm to it. And the game as well, like, mechanically is great. It really is.
The cool thing about Fable, I thought, was one of the things that I thought was kind of innovative for it, was that, the simplicity of it where, you could hand it over to Dum Dum, who's never even seen an Xbox controller before, and just go like, you hit X to hit your sword, you put Y to shoot your gun, you hit B to, to fire your magic off, and then they do it, and then they go, okay, you go, and then all of a sudden you just go like XXB, like Y, like roll away, B, like fireball everywhere, like, and you can make, even though like what you're doing is very, very simplistic, like what I was saying earlier about Neverwinter, and Fable does a very good job of it as well, is making you feel powerful even when you're not necessarily, geared as such. Like, job, but even at a low level where you could be like slash, fire AoE, pick the last couple off with your guns, and it does like a really good idea of, a really good.
It's just as RPGs go, and like I even found this with Fable 2. Fable 3 I did enjoy, but again a little bit of a disappointment. It wasn't long enough. It wasn't enough. I just wanted more from it, and I just sadly didn't.
Lackluster.
Yeah, I just didn't get that. But one of the great things, and it just comes down to great storytelling and great world creation and characters and everything like that, is just it can make you feel so much and have such a serious story with some serious consequences, and at the same time just have these ridiculous characters that are so funny and have these quirky little funny things about them, and it's just so brilliant. Such a charming game, really is.
Yeah.
Moving on games, but you were just saying about sort of like characters that are emotionally invested in and consequences for a very, very real world. And you two are probably going to talk my ear off for the next 10 minutes, but I have absolutely nothing to say about the matter because it's not for me. But Final Fantasy, like in terms of character, like I know that people are very, very invested in the characters and obviously the world, and obviously there's about 94 million of them.
Okay, so again, technical difficulties, we do apologise, but we were about to sort of discuss briefly discuss Final Fantasy and its sort of addition to the RPG genre, and I think it'd be very, I think it's important for us to probably mention probably the most popular of that series and probably the most defining, which is 7.
Even I've heard of that one, and I've not played a single one of them.
I mean, I think that game alone probably helped sell the PlayStation 1 and, again, bring RPGs to the sort of mainstream of gaming.
Yeah.
And popularise RPGs as a genre, I think it's safe to say.
I agree. I mean, I spent a lot of hours on Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
Like, untold hours on 7. Didn't really understand what the fuck I was doing, but I managed
to be fair, mate, do you ever?
No. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's the way that game was sort of like marketed, and then the way it is. It's still a classic to this day, and still something that a lot of people hold near and dear to their hearts. And it is a great game. It really is.
Real good.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've not played it. I do keep on meaning to, but I'm not super into turn-based.
I mean, speaking of turn-based, but the first sort of, I mean, not the time I knew it, but it's probably strange looking back and thinking about it, but it's probably one of the games that has made me love RPGs the way I do, and that's Pokemon Blue.
Yeah, Pokemon.
The original Pokemon games.
I remember playing the original Pokemon game on the old Game Boy. You know, so you get the old connector cable where you trade some of the Pokemon with each other, and.
But lo and behold, you know, not that I know at the time, but that was the first RPG I ever played, and you know, it's probably one of the reasons why I love these style of games. Great turn-based game.
One of the fun about with you lot last was that the Pokemon difficulty settings was dependent on which Pokemon you chose when you first started.
Yeah, apparently, I only heard that very recently.
I didn't know that.
No, neither did I.
It was me who said it, because obviously if you pick, I think it went Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander.
Yeah. Because
obviously, like, Bulbasaur is strong against rock. It's very defensive against water, defensive against electricity, and then obviously it shares a type with the 4th gym, which I'm pretty sure was grass. That might have been later on, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 4th gym. But then obviously Squirtle was strong against the 1st, and then indifferent against the 2nd, and then weak to the 3rd, strong against the 4th. And then obviously Charmander, he had not effective against rock, not effective against water, was okay against electric, and then strong against grass. And that's kind of the difficulty setting on it. But, you know, I just picked the Pokemon I liked, really. I didn't really care.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's how I do it. I never knew at the time. Still don't. But, like, yeah, I mean, Pokemon, again, another one that got a lot of RPGs into a lot of people's hands, not and unbeknownst as well to a lot of children, I think. The sneaky bastards. But, like, I think...
Curse, Game Freak.
But... yeah, no, like definitely innovative game at the time, and just such a Pokemon's amazing. Gotta love Pokemon.
I still play it now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, still, you know, getting nostalgic about Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. You know, which Sapphire was the what?
Nostalgic. It's not even that old.
No, but like Pokemon Sapphire was the last Pokemon game I ever played, and that was what, Gen 3, I think.
Yep.
So, and we're on like Gen 7 or something now, I think.
They're
It's all
fucking
about the
ice
boom
cream
head.
cones and keychains now. I'm done.
Yeah. But yeah, no, but like my sort of addition to RPGs, and one of the games that's probably been the most influential on my experiences with RPGs, and that's got to be the Elder Scrolls series, Oblivion,
Yeah.
which was my first Elder
Morrowind.
Scrolls, Skyrim from then on. Just
Morrowind.
phenomenal games. Obviously, Morrowind I've not played, sadly. Still dying to play that game, just for the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
And everything.
Morrowind was awesome. Spent a lot of time on that game, and
Spent a lot of
it
time on
didn't have the
Oblivion.
same-
Too much time.
Yeah, on that as well. Yeah, I haven't spent so much time on Skyrim.
No, I don't feel I have. Not compared to Oblivion, anyway.
No, Oblivion, I've got hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay on there.
Yeah.
Same for Morrowind.
Yeah.
But Morrowind lacked the one thing it did lack that was good about Oblivion, direction as to where you're supposed to go, trying to find places and shit like that. Morrowind's got like, and find your way.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, that's one thing I've heard, one criticism I've heard about the later games, especially Skyrim. It holds your hand, but at the same time, you can turn off those quest markers.
Yeah.
So, but...
I always preferred the quest markers.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fuck I'm going.
True.
In the game or the real world, so...
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, kind of going back like to almost like the very
Real
start
life.
of the podcast when we were talking about Shadow of Mordor and how that world feels very, very lived in. Always my criticism of Elder Scrolls and Fallout games. I mean, Fallout I understand, and I
Yeah,
forgive
Fallout's a
lot
little bit of a
more.
different beast, but...
Is just because of the world feels very empty
Yeah.
to me. Like, obviously, Fallout I understand because, you know, post-apocalyptic, not many survivors. Like, I could understand the reason that you wouldn't see many people and things like that. But to me, like, Elder Scroll, you know, like the Elder Scrolls series just always feels very, very empty.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, you come, you know, if you're doing your travels and you're walking about and stuff, you get the odd. Obviously, Skyrim, you'll get a dragon and stuff like that, and the odd sort of highwayman or the odd skooma dealer or someone who's like, oh, hey, where are you off to? Oh, I'm doing a pilgrimage to blah blah. Okay, but it's not a lot, you know. It's just a sort of little snippet. You don't
Yeah.
get much.
and if you follow them half the time, they don't even go to where the bloody...
So they're going, really?
Yeah, well,
I ain't got that
They're-
sort of patience.
they get... Well, I mean, I've done it before. The one cool thing that I did about Skyrim, though, actually, and I found it totally on accident, and lots of people haven't seen it, but was an Easter egg, is there's a place near Whiterun, which is like a catacomb, and it's got like a graveyard, and it's got like an expert lockpick chest, I think it is. Like, if you're sort of stood, like, where the meter, where you have to do one of the feed, I think it's a feed skill, it might be feeds, or it might be assassins, guild quest where you have to poison the mead and stuff. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
But if you, along that road, there's a ghostly headless horseman who rides.
Yeah, I keep seeing that dude. I followed him, but like to no avail. Like,
Yeah, you need to follow him before the sun comes up, otherwise he disappears. And you follow him, and then he leads you to this catacomb place, and then you kill the skeletons, and then the chest is there for you to take. Then
see, it's little things like that you need a little bit more of. I mean, obviously, I can't fault Bethesda. They're one of my favourite developers, and I love Skyrim, Fallout, Oblivion. There's so much detail, so much effort put into those worlds. But again, it's kind of the bane, I think, of every open world game, is that, yeah, it's great, it's expansive, there's so much to do and so much to see, but at the same time, it's not alive.
yeah,
There's
I mean,
not those little encounters like that are interesting that you find, you know?
I mean, talking about Bethesda and then sort of like changing it slightly, but I mean, I think that like modern day RPGs, somebody who really needs a head nod is BioWare. Like Mass Effect, one of my all-time favorite series, has just got that for me. Just that RPG, sort of like sci-fi. The world, like to me, the world feels like lived in as well. Like, you know, you'll go to like one of the cities and there'll be people there, and you're on your ship and there's people like doing their jobs, and Do you know what I mean? Like I always feel that like with BioWare products that the places seem a bit lived in, but they're sort of like semi-open world, semi-linear, I guess. But in the same respect that Fable is almost, I guess, semi-open world, semi-linear. But Fable also feels very lived in to me. But like,
I think because it's smaller and because it's linear, that's why you
but
can
it's
do
but
that.
still open world. Obviously, there's nothing to
Oh
stop you in
yeah,
Fable. Power Stone to Bloodstone. Even when you start, like every place you go, there are people you can talk to and people who want to have conversations with you and little bits of lore to learn and stuff like that. And obviously, like Mass Effect, you've got like an entire galaxy to explore. You can land on most of the planets and find something to do on them and experience. Like I'm one of the that's one of the reasons Mass Effect is such a favorite of mine. It's just because I love Star Trek so much, and that idea of just getting in your spaceship and exploring and meeting
strange
aliens
new worlds, new
yeah,
civilizations.
I can quote that
To
entire
boldly go.
I can quote the Star Trek Next Generation monologue from start to finish, and I've been able to do it since I was about 6 years old, and I can still do it now, and I'm 22.
Nerd.
Nerd alert.
But yeah, no. So I mean,
May you rest in peace, Nella Nimoy.
oh
Just get
yeah,
that
May
out
rest
there.
in peace.
yeah.
I literally cried, may I add. Literally fucking cried my eyes out. I was distraught. So yeah, bit of a sad one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
RPG, kind of going off like traditional RPGs. World of Warcraft, like probably the biggest RPG.
MMO, yeah. MMORPG, yeah.
But it's still an RPG, obviously. But
Oh, yeah.
it is probably the biggest RPG. There is not really a title bigger than WoW, I don't think. Not even Skyrim.
Yeah, I like WoW.
Just kill the conversation there. Just
No, it's
fucking
a
dead
strange one because yes, it's a massive multiplayer RPG, but there's nothing really thinking about it. There's nothing sort of horrendously RPG like about it in comparison to, obviously it's a different beast because it's a multiplayer game, but it's not an RPG in the same sense that you can play it sort of single player, but I don't know, I don't get the same, because I used to play it on my own quite a lot anyway.
I did that as well. That's the reason I
But
played.
I don't. I never got the same sort of single player RPG experience out of it, and out of the story, and out of the quests that I did from Oblivion or Fable. I mean, I know it's a different beast, but there's not those sort of those similar RPG elements. If you get what I mean, or am I?
I do, but like at the same time, I sort of counteract where it's like you'll have your quest to do this or to slay this monster, and in WoW it's very much the same. You'll go to Gold Shear and he'll tell you to go kill kobolds in the mine. If they're destroying the resources, and into the mine you go and you kill some kobolds and you come back and you turn your quest in. But that's what you do in Skyrim. Can you slay this dragon for me because it's ruining my shit? Sure I can. Off I go, kill the dragon, come back to me, you give me money, I gain experience from it. And it's it all works very the same. It's all quests, and it's all retrieving quests and turning quests in. And
I mean, I don't know if it's just because
building
it's a
your skill
single
set
player
and
game,
stuff,
but I
so-
feel more invested in doing a quest in Skyrim than I ever did really in WoW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. But then again, like the thing with WoW is, because I mean, the thing I love about RPGs is a lived-in world. Really, is that was kind of my criticism just then, and that was kind of the reason I brought it up. But obviously, when you've got a player base, if you go to Stormwind or Orgrimmar or the Undercity or any of like the main cities in the game, they all feel, because obviously they're populated by players, and there's always, there's hustle and bustle and trade, and people wanting to go on quests, and people wanting to go clear dungeons, and there's all your merchants, and there's obviously, if you can be bothered to look, there's lots of little side quests that you can do and things like that. So I mean, like, that's sort of the reason that I bring it up almost as well, just because, the players make the game. And the one thing that really pisses me off about Skyrim is that I could cope with the lone Skyrim just to be able to, do you want to come discuss with me? And then,
That's one of the things I've always thought would, and again, I think I've said it on the podcast before, but I hope we see this in the Elder Scrolls 6 and in Fallout 4 is the idea that very intelligently, I think, Rockstar did with Red Dead Redemption, where you could have a posse and three of your friends or whatever, you could get together and just run around the world and be cowboys. It'd be amazing to do something like that in a small little party-based, role play in Fallout or in Skyrim or Elder Scrolls 6. That'd be that'd be great. I would love that.
It works really, really well in the basis of Skyrim, because obviously, you'd have, you'd be able to like party divide as if you would in an MMO. You'd have your healer, your mage, your tank, your rogue, or your range, depending on
obviously it'd be great to bring your character into people's games, and it'd be great if you got a group of friends to sort of relate that. Your single player game kind of dictates your multiplayer game in that, okay, well, I'm going to start my game off as a healer, as you said, and that sort of thing.
If you ever made a Fallout online game, I would buy it in seconds. I would be right on that. I would love to set up like a little group of survivors, and we have our own little portion of the map on the online world. That's ours. We control that. We run that. Anybody wants to join, that would be amazing.
It'd be great, but I'd prefer like a posse system, like from Rockstar, like from Red Dead. I'd prefer that as opposed to like a Fallout MMO.
Fallout, more of a.
Personally, but that's just me personally.
I think you wouldn't even need stories and quests. It could all just be like PvP survival in a Fallout MMO. Like you wouldn't
potentially
even need because you make your own stories almost.
There are little villages around there. You got to go and raid them for supplies, but also these other group of survivors, they want the supplies. Then you got to go try and get supplies from the other survivors in different little settlements. That'd be so good.
You wouldn't even need like quest givers and stuff, because you take your own initiative, and like you could easily just kind of like be that mercenary character who decided to focus on his gun. People would have a way of aim, and then they'd just be like, look, I want this guy taken out, can you take him out for me? And you just go wipe you go wipe a village, and you take all the caps, and then you fuck off, and then those guys come in and scavenge the place for like food and stuff. I think it'd be awesome.
Definitely, and I think there's definitely a market for something like that. Especially you look at games like, just briefly,
DayZ.
just want to touch on it. DayZ, games like that, where it is what the players make that game to be. It is, because if you get together with a group of friends and you're basically role playing this survival, so that in the Fallout world, count me in, buddy. Count me in.
Yeah, man, I'm on for that.
Yeah.
Do you want to shift over
to platformers?
Yeah.
If that was our next? I think I'm happy to do so.
Go ahead.
Mario.
Of course, you can't mention platforms without mentioning Mario. Obviously, probably the main basis or most popular of platforming games. But obviously, and it's a classic formula that has not changed a lot, as most Nintendo games don't. But it bloody works, and it's bloody good. But sort of more of obviously that was an innovation in itself, and there's a lot of things that have taken from Mario, which is great. But modern day, Little Big Planet.
Yeah. Straight
on that, because I love Little Big Planet, and that is such an innovative game. It really is. It had some great new ideas about the puzzle platformer, and the online community that it created around it, of creating your own maps, creating your own levels and things like that, is great.
But it's also massively simple.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing complicated about Little Big Planet, really, is it? Like, I mean, I didn't play Little Big Planet until about, what was it, like 6 months ago or something. I came round and I went around to Rob's flat with Tash, and like they were just like, oh, do you want to play something together? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And they were just like, here's a controller. I was just like, what's the control? A grab. And like, with it solved, and it's like, you just be like,
I think that's the beauty of platformers, is they're just so simple to pick up and play. They're so accessible to everyone and anyone, because it's just directional buttons. Press A to jump, press B to maybe punch or something,
and then R to grab. Or
there's not a lot to them. It's great.
The other thing I really liked about Little Big Planet was like sometimes you'd have like something like Super Mario Brothers or whatever, when you can both play as like Luigi and Mario, and like you're always trying to work together and stuff. But the cool thing I like about Little Big Planet is that like sometimes you'll just be doing a level, and like you'll be working together and you've just solved the puzzle and you moved a bit further on the level, and it's just like you get to a race gate and then you have to like competitively race for all the bubbles, and
or you can quite easily dick someone over, and it's glorious. Okay, so we sorted out some, again, technical difficulties. Do apologise, there's been a lot in this episode. But we're briefly talking about Portal and how sort of that has been an innovation in both puzzle and platformers, which I think is safe to say it has. I've not personally played the game, but watching gameplay of it, it definitely looks like a fun game. And it's a co-op game as well with Portal 2. So
Portal 2, yeah.
Yep.
yeah, so definitely innovation there in the puzzle platformer sort of genre. So without going sort of too further into it, because obviously time is pushing on, we're going to sort of move on to the last sort of segments of our podcast and talk about next month's releases for the month of April. So, Josh?
So, releases. We've got Xenoblade Chronicles 3D for the 3DS. I must say that this month is a bit sparse, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, to be honest, that's probably the biggest game for next month for a lot of Nintendo fans and games of the Xenoblade genre, not genre, but series. That was quite a big game that was released on the Wii a couple of years ago that a lot of fans got behind to get it brought over to sort of the
3DS.
West. No, just to the West in general.
Xenoblade a fighter or an RPG?
It's an RPG. It's an RPG. It's sort of like it's almost a semi-turn-based hotbar action RPG type game,
Okay.
but it's a JRPG. So
yeah.
sort of a little bit sci-fi, a little bit fantasy, from what I know of it. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
It's a shame that we don't have Naz with us this evening, on account of Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is out on multiple formats on the 2nd. Same day as Xenoblade.
DLC, I'm assuming.
Possibly, but I'm guessing that it's a standalone at some point. It might be one of those. Remember when Dark Souls did their like other edition after a while because they did quite a big DLC and they included it in like a physical release. I've got a feeling it's a similar story with Scholar of the First Sin.
Fuck Dark Souls.
Yeah, somebody was asking me about it the other day, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, if you like dying a lot, yeah, go for it. Be my guest, man.
If you like rage quitting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this has got to be a JRPG. There's no way this can't be a JRPG. So, Hyperdimension Neptuna Hyper Collection.
What the fuck?
It's on the PS3. It's out on the 3rd of the 4th, 15. And it comprises, obviously, the 3 Hyperdimension Neptuna games. I have no idea what they are. I mean, if anybody, it's probably you, Rob, because you play a lot. Well, you have played a lot of like JRPGs and are aware of lots of franchises.
I've never played the series. I know of the series. I don't know a lot about it. I only know of the series because of a few podcasts I listen to that mention it every now and then. But I literally know nothing about the series. But I'm not massively interested from what I hear.
So
but it's typical JRPG fare, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 3-game collection. It's coming out on the PS3, the 3rd of the 4th. I mean, once again, on the 14th of the 4th, pushed back again for about the 19th time, I'm pretty sure. And I've done this the last 3 months running, I'm pretty sure, and I've mentioned it every single time coming out next month. It's Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PC. It's going to Duke Nukem it, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be like 15 years later, and they still not going to have a PC port of it.
To be fair, I mean, I'm not massively bothered by Grand Theft Auto or GTA 5, to be honest.
GTA 5's great.
It doesn't bother me either way. But like, one thing I will say, yes, some people might be pissed off that they keep pushing it back for the PC and pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. But let's be honest, do you want a game that fucking works and does really well? Or do you want a game that's a little bit broken and needs constant patches?
Yeah, I mean, we could just have an Assassin's Creed Unity if you'd prefer.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
Because here's another thing, like this month, I think it was last week, Naughty Dog said that they're pushing back Uncharted 4 to be released next year, which I'm absolutely fine with. Because you know what, if you need more time to make your game the best game you can,
take it.
Do it. I don't care. I will wait. Because I know you'll make a cracking game. So,
yeah. Next game is 14th of the 4th, 2015. If you're into your fighting games, this is a big one. If you're not into your fighting games, you've undoubtedly heard of the series. It's Mortal Kombat 10.
Finish him.
I'm not into fighting games whatsoever. They're not my jam.
Not my cup of tea.
They're not my cup of tea. Too many buttons, so little time, too many combos. too many
I've
fucking
seen quite a
aliens.
bit of the new one. It does look quite cool graphically. I mean, I'm not gonna fight it because I'm not into fighters that much, but
They
it does look
always
quite
look
cool.
cool. They always look cool, but like I just find them really miserable to play personally.
Hmm.
Um, Next is the 24th of the 4th, 15. Tropico 5, which I've played Tropico for a little while now. I've got Tropico 4 on my computer. I really love the game. It's just like SimCity, but it's done in a really parody-esque way. I mean, if you're not aware of the franchise, you basically become a dictator of a Caribbean island called Tropico, or a set of islands called Tropico, and they're absolutely fucking hilarious. They're just like really cheekily written, and like you try to like appease various political factions to get voted in as the president of Tropico, and like you can like do like the Robert Mugabe and like fix the vote, but then you lose like trust with your votees, but then like some political parties love that you're still in charge, and stuff like that. And like it's a really fun game, and it doesn't particularly sound fun when it's explained, but just the nature of how it is and how it plays out, and like the interactions that you find and get and stuff. Tropico is definitely worth your time if you haven't checked it out. But it's out on the PS4 on the 24th of the 4th this month.
Fair enough. I mean, it's kind of like a strategy game, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah, it's a strategy /
I mean,
city builder.
fair enough, coming out on the PS4, but again, it's one of those games. If I was to play it, I'd rather get it on PC or Mac if it was available.
Yeah, it translates very well on the PC because obviously it's it's things like option wheels.
I think all
and stuff,
strategy
and they don't
games
really
do.
work.
I mean, you either get them really right or really wrong if you're translating them to, if you're doing a port to console, and generally it's been really wrong.
I've played the Tropico games I played one of them on the 360, and that actually ports across really nicely because the way that the wheels are set out anyway are set out like like an analog. Like when you go on like a shooting game and you choose your gun with the analog wheel like GTA's. It's done like that with all your buildings in there, and all the menus are quite nicely like laid out. They've got the console port quite nice, I think personally, but each to their own. But like as you said, strategy games generally better speaking on the old PC. And then finally, wrapping it up, is the Sims 4 Get to Work expansion pack, which is kind of similar to like Pets or Making Magic or whatever for the old ones, which obviously just gives you more.
So this is the first expansion, isn't it, for Sims 4?
For the Sims 4, yeah. I don't know if they've done Pets already. Possibly.
No idea. I've not kept up with it, to be honest, because
I've not played Sims since Sims 2, if I'm honest, just because.
Sims 3 was really good. I played Sims 3.
See, I heard Sims 3 was a bit lackluster, and then 4 is really good, but up until like quite recently, I haven't really had a computer good enough to run Sims properly. So.
I used to play Sims quite a bit. It was good fun.
Yeah, no, I like Sims.
I like Sims out.
Doggy.
There's the wife.
Wife's home.
Cool. So that's it. Brilliant. So not a lot coming out in April, but anything there that people are thinking of picking up, or not really? Or?
No.
For me, because JRPGs not really my thing. Tropico, I might eventually get on the PC. Dark Souls is a no for me. Mortal Kombat's a no for me, and I don't have the Sims, so.
Cool. Brilliant. Well, so ended up on releases there. Again, that's probably not all the releases for next month, but that's some of them certainly. So I suppose all that's left to do is sort of finish up and shamelessly plug ourselves and ask Josh, what are you up to next month? What are you planning on doing, or what are you planning for your channel or anything like that?
Right. Well, I mean, there was meant to be a blog today, but I've had some difficulties recording it, and I tried to record it about 4 times, and it's just similar to the podcast. Just not with it today in terms of technology, but because of my academic commitments, it's slowed down quite a lot on my channel. I am still trying to provide you at least one video of the week, but it's not always possible. But and I do apologise, but that is due to pick up again once like dissertation and things are out of the way. But unfortunately, I can't really properly commit to a proper release schedule. But the one thing I am very excited about to announce, and I'm trying to get it up to scratch now, and I'm working it out with Minty and with Rob, is it's still codename Mystery Invite currently, but a charity live stream for Child's Play. I'm trying to work out how we're going to do it, but that's going to be the next big thing that you'll see from Singularity Games, I think, and it'll be a big collaboration amongst my friends, several YouTube channels, including Humble and Naz, who appear on the podcast occasionally, as well as a special guest, my girlfriend, most likely as well. As well as obviously Tiny Tasha, but she has a YouTube channel, so I'm counting her as a YouTuber. So
definitely, I mean,
yeah.
she's been pushing out some great content recently, so
Yes.
go check her channel out.
Yeah,
Because she had a lot more time recently to make videos, so that's awesome.
Tasha's super cool, and we loves her lots.
Indeed.
So, yeah, but that's it for me, I'm afraid. But I mean, for me, in terms of actual content, Plants vs Zombies, I'm guessing, hoping to get the last episode of Jules of the Planeswalkers recorded and done, and then that my Let's Play is like finally finished and done after about 6 months. And then I'm hoping at some point I get a chance to start recording my next one, which, as it stands at the moment, is either going to be a stealth game, something like along the lines of a Splinter Cell or a Sniper, or Spec Ops: The Line, which was Zero Punctuation's Game of the Year, or I might find something totally different to play. But as it stands, that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, that's me.
I look forward to them.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So where can we find you, Josh? I mean, obviously I'll be
You can-
linked, but you know, what's your socials and everything like that?
You can find me on YouTube. It's possibly just best annotated or as a link in the description.
It'd be linked anyway and annotated, but
because I don't have 500 subscribers, because you need that for a custom name.
yeah,
You
now,
can
which is ridiculous. Thanks, YouTube.
You can find me on Twitter at SingularityJosh, or you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/SingularityGames. But that's me on the socials. I update
Cool.
both reasonably regularly. It's most of the time just doing publications and press for you guys at the moment, considering I've not got much going on. But you know, check me out. I'm always happy to talk and happy to have fun with you guys. And obviously when I put videos up, that'll be the first place you see them. So cheers for that, guys. Thank you very much.
Alright, cool, awesome. So Minty, what's coming up on the stuff you do?
Continuing on the stuff I do. Continuing some of my games I'm going through at the moment. My big four being Dying Light, my Let's Play of Fallout New Vegas, some Bioshock Infinite, and State of Decay as well. There's my big four that I'm trying to go through.
So it's worth mentioning. Minty is primarily on the Twitches, so he's our live streamer, our resident live streamer here.
I'm a streamer and I upload it onto the YouTube.
Yeah, obviously there'll be a link to your YouTube channel here, because I can't sadly link to your Twitch, but you can find most of his content on YouTube, and then at some point links to Twitch and everything.
Yeah,
but,
so if you just search the YouTube, you'll find for Mintyland Games, you pop up with my thing on there. Or you can like it on facebook.com/Mintyland Gaming. Just because, you know, I like to plug. Like, I've got the same problem with Josh as when it comes to the YouTube. We can't really say out what it is because YouTube are a big old bag of dicks and don't let me have my personal account.
yeah, sadly.
Yeah, but those are my big four. Those four games. There's occasional dips into Minecraft as well. Maybe a little bit of Dying Light. I like to vary my games. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Yeah.
Cool. And as for a schedule, sadly, Minty, I can't really
With
have
shift
one
patterns
properly.
and stuff like that at work.
Yeah.
It's a matter of if and when I can. I try to do more evenings than anything else.
Yeah. But again, if you want to check out his live streams, which I highly recommend, I really highly recommend. This guy is the reason why I want to get Dying Light as well. I just want to worth mentioning. So yes, he's that good. So go follow him on the Facebook, because that's probably the best way to know when he's streaming. Plus, you know, I'm sure myself and Josh will tweet you out and stream you out and everything like that to get you out there.
Yeah,
so nice.
definitely.
Cool. So I suppose moving on to myself. As for what's coming up on the Undead Gaming channel is more Shadows of Mordor. More of that. Love that game to pieces. Can't wait to do more and record more. A little bit more Dead Space, although it's not doing extremely well. I'm still enjoying playing it. So F all the haters. More vlogs, more gaming vlogs. I've got another Gaming Memories video planned for the near future. Last one I did was on Left 4 Dead. So I've got another one coming up planned soon.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that video, by the way. That you should definitely go check those out if you've not seen those before. They're awesome.
Cool, thank you, buddy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing exceedingly new apart from Mordor, and new sort of vlogs and things. But if you want to check me out on the socials, it's at TheUndeadGamr on Twitter. I post up a lot of stuff about my channel and shit as well. If you want to hear me ramble about bollocks, then there is your place. Also, facebook.com/TheUndeadGamr as well. You can find me on there on the Facebook, and that's about it. And Google Plus, not that anyone uses that shit. Anyway,
Whoop, whoop.
so yes, that is it. I suppose. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Undead Gaming Cast episode 9 for the month of March. Thank you both to Minty Lamb and Josh from Singularity Games. Thank you guys so much for coming on and being with us.
You're welcome, buddy.
Great to have you as always. So, yeah. That's it. End of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. And hopefully we will catch you next time. And as always, if you've got any comments or feedback on the podcast or any influential games that you thought were influential, or games that you love of a particular genre, let us know in the comments down below, and we will do our best to make sure we keep up with the comments and chat to you guys, because it's always great to hear feedback and what you guys think about what we're talking about. So, yes, without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.